How did your expectations of what you thought the business would look like, or what your initial vision for the business, how did that square with what that reality actually looked like once you were in it and doing it and building?
I mean, I think that's part of the problem. We didn't really have a vision. And, that's something that we try to coach our customers on now is you need a vision. Like, what do you want this to look like and feel like when you open the door? What do you want to hear? What do you want to see? Because I don't think we had any of that. I think our relationship was solid enough and we kind of had aligning goals that we made it work, right?
But not intentionally.
No. It was just, it kind of fell in place, right? We were very lucky in that. So when you're like in the middle of it, of that storm, and you're hiring people and, you're having to fire people, and it's like, what in the world am I doing here? And so it took a couple of years for us to even acknowledge that we didn't have a solid vision. We didn't know what we really wanted out of this, right? Like I often tell the story. We both agreed to build a small ABA practice. My idea of a small ABA practice was 10 clinics. April's idea of a small ABA practice was 10 employees. Very different. But we were both, let's build a small ABA practice. And so I think that, especially when we're working with partners or couples that are wanting to build something, it's really important that they're on the same page, because again, there were some really hard times, right? Where we were having issues at home and issues at work. And is there even such a thing as issues that are just stay at work when you're married and you have an in-home agency? Not really, right? Especially when your husband is waking up at 3 a.m. asking about Aetna authorizations. So, that was something that we try to coach people through, right? This is going to be difficult and it's going to be messy. So we want a clear understanding of what you want, because we didn't have that when we started. And it probably wasn't until year 4 where we actually sat down and said, oh, what is it we're building here? And how do we want it to be?
Yeah, I think my expectation was, because my focus has always been early intervention, right? My sweet spot's like that birth to 8, right? More specifically, those 3 to 5-year-olds, right? And so especially when we got the clinic space, we still had in-home services, but I envisioned like not making a preschool, but making it preschool-like so that we could offer like some preschool readiness types of services. It was important to me to really pour into early intervention. And I know that's where a lot of ABA services are, in early intervention. I know there's a lot outside of that too, but that's the main focus. But still, that's where I wanted to be. And that was what was important to me. Felt really strongly about early intervention. But what I didn't understand is that like how hard it would be to find enough kids in that age range with the availability to be able to make that profitable, because profit was like the last thing on my mind. I would have given away services for free, and and it was very uncomfortable for me to have to like get co-pays. I just wanted to go like work on communication skills and play skills with little guys, right? Like that. And then as we grew, and that also meant supervising doesn't even feel like the accurate word, but like managing staff, right? That was beyond my expectations. It wasn't even on my radar of what that would look like. I just assumed that you just tell people what to do, or not even tell people what to do. They would just know what to do. And then you all work together. So I obviously had a very rosy Pollyanna, little version in my head. And it obviously did not match the real life.
Yeah. Well, and, I hear a lot too, the similar motivations to yours. Like you look around at the ABA companies that are in the area and, whether it's the amount of driving or other things in the way that they're structured, it's easy to think like, okay, well, here's what I want to build. And I am going to build this thing that's better or different. But I've heard a lot of stories of folks that get into it and then they're like, well, I've just recreated the thing that I was trying to avoid and get away from. Did you experience any moments like that, or anything that you're like, well, I was explicitly trying to avoid this, and now I'm looking at what we've built and I'm noticing like we have accidentally created these conditions that, this thing is happening?
I think, again, this is accidentally, right? We were aligned enough that we were both like, it was more important that we provide services that we felt were good than making profit, right? And I can remember like I would have conversations with RBTs and say, I need a raise, right? And I'm like, dude, you make more than I make, right?
Absolutely.
And so like that was a big focus for us. And like again, maybe accidentally on purpose, separated myself from the clinical side, right? So it was like, I'm not involved in these authorizations. I'm not saying, hey, it'd be great if we had another 30-hour kid, right? Like it was when the authorization went through, it was whatever hours were, the availability.
That was at the beginning. There was that little bit of like, oh, well, why can't you just get 30 hours for this kid? Not like with an ethical list, but just like a misunderstanding on your end of what that really looks like. Yeah. So we did very, very quickly and very early. We were able to remedy any of those things pretty quickly before they got out of control. Like, I think we were really good. One of our family goals is like living with intention. And we hadn't recognized that then yet either. We did not, but it was here. We just didn't know it or name it. We hadn't named it yet. And so I think we were aware enough when things were getting outside of what we were trying to do enough that we were able to bring things back in pretty quickly.
Yes.
But I think too, that was also because of like me being a planner and him being a doer, right? And so that makes a really good combo. But we did make a lot of hard choices personally, because the focus we did voice to each other was at the end of the day, we want to be able to sleep at night without worrying about, are we treating the individuals we're providing services for, wrong, or our staff. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning, because I had a strong experience and strong skill set of working with parents too. And so I already came into it pretty strong working with parents and knowing how to have conversations with parents and showing up in a way where parents felt like they could talk to me, right? Mm-hmm. And then I felt really good. I did a great job working with little guys now. Teenagers and older kids, I had no idea what I was doing. And so eventually we did hire someone to be able to take those caseloads. But what I didn't know was like how to manage staff, right? Like all of those humans. And so I think in my looking back, that's where things kind of really started to steer out of line as we were learning there.